Curiosity, mental stimulation, and a boost in creativity. That's what's in store for us in the upcoming Gemini New Moon phase. Stay tuned to learn all about it. Hello and welcome. I'm Lori Barnes, the astrologer who helps people find their true calling. Today, we're diving into the dynamic energies of the upcoming Gemini New Moon, where mental stimulation and creativity take center stage. The new moon happens when the moon catches up with the sun in the same sign and degree every month. Remember that the new moon phase is the beginning of the cycle. It's young, innocent, and carries the feeling of stepping out from the other world. The new moon happens Saturday or Sunday this weekend, depending on where you live. If you are in the western part of the US, the new moon will start Saturday evening on June 17th at 9:37 p.m. If you're on the east coast of the US, it starts at 12:37 a.m. early Sunday morning. And if you're in Rome, like where I am in Italy, it will be on Sunday morning at 6:37 a.m. The Gemini new moon is at 26 degrees of the sign Gemini. The half cycle, also known as the full moon, will be on Monday, July 3rd in Capricorn at 11 degrees. And I'll create a video for you on that full moon, and that will take us halfway through this cycle that's starting this weekend. So the sun and new moon align in the same degree of the zodiac sign Gemini. Gemini individuals are known for their social nature, curiosity, and love for mental stimulation, keyword for this new moon. During the new moon phase, you might feel like playing like a kid, like let your inner child out, or you may have a strong desire to explore and learn. Any activities that engage both your body and your mind are the ideal way to soak up this Gemini new moon energy. So we have two harmonious themes going on at the new moon. First, there is an emphasis on social connection and mental stimulation. The sun, moon, and Mercury are all in a harmonious angle, a sextile with Venus and Mars. This alignment is dynamic, and it's a good time to write down the many different inspirations that you may experience during the new moon. And I say write them down because you may get so many creative ideas that you won't be able to remember them all. So write them down, and then you'll have a stockpile of ideas that you can return to over and again. So all those moving bodies I just mentioned, Sun, Moon, Mercury, Venus, Mars, they are the personal planets. Sun and Moon are luminaries, and Venus, Mercury, Mars are personal planets. This new moon is really full of energy that pertains to who we are and how we do what we do. Because the sun and moon, they represent our ego development through the sun, and the moon is our needs, or how we experience fulfillment in life. And then Mercury, Venus, and Mars carry out how we interact with the world. And so Mercury is our communication style, and Venus is our relating style, and Mars is how we go out and take action in the world. It's how we get things done. And it also is our inner will and determination. So this is energy we can really tap into, because these are the planets that describe how we interact with the world on a daily basis. And in your chart, of course, those 5 planets really speak to who we are and how we do what it is that we do. So if you have planets or sensitive points like your midheaven ascendant in Gemini or Leo, you're going to feel like this bolt of dynamic and inspirational energy at the new moon on Sunday. The second harmonious theme happening at the Gemini new moon has to do with Jupiter and Saturn. They form a harmonious sextile also in the signs of Taurus and Pisces. That's Jupiter in Taurus and Saturn in Pisces. Now, this relationship brings a more structured nature to the new moon. It grounds the other planets in their dynamic positions in Gemini and Leo. And the combination of Jupiter and Saturn, the sextile combination, is like a balance between optimism and caution and a fluid but yet structured strategy. So it's nice. You have the gas pedal and the brake working together. There are a few squares in the mix, but they're not close mathematically. So this is nice because there's still the tension that we get from squares, gets things moving, but in a less pronounced way. So it's like a minor irritation happens, and it results in you taking action towards something that needs to be taken care of, and then it all works out for the best. So those are two different kind of harmonious aspects happening at the same time. Now, Mercury is important in this new moon because it's the ruler of Gemini, and Mercury is the planet of communication, and it has been traveling in its own sign since Sunday, June 11th. Mercury in Gemini amplifies matters of the mind and enhances the expression of Gemini's qualities as the ruler of the Gemini new moon. Mental stimulation, that's kind of our key word. So Mercury forms an exact harmonious sextile with Venus. This creates a magnetic and intellectually appealing energy. It's sexy and smart. This combination can dazzle you with a clever mind and seduce you with magnetic appeal. Socializing in a beautiful or creative place is really desirable if you have both. You want opportunities to engage in mentally stimulating activities with, a beautiful surrounding, like a mixer at a gallery opening, or going to a play, or attending a conference about your favorite subject. This is a great time to get dressed up, find a place to go. Just be sure that whatever you do has a combination of mental stimulation and a beautiful atmosphere. This makes the most of that Venus and Mercury mix. So we have a lot of sextile energy happening at the new moon. The planet Mars is not far away from the Venus and Mercury sextile. So that gives us some energy to get out there and express ourselves. And it should be easier to get out there and be you in your individual style. So just make sure when you do get dressed up, or whatever it is that you're going to go out and do, that you let your individual and creative style come out. Rather than trying to fit in, just try to embrace your creative and personal style. Don't worry about what the others are doing. Do you. So Venus and Mars, they're traveling together in the zodiac sign of Leo. It seems like they're going to connect. It seems like Venus is getting close to Mars and they're going to be together, but they won't. Venus is actually preparing for a retrograde in the sign of Leo. So Mars is going to pull ahead and delay their rendezvous. Venus is going to go retrograde next month on July 22nd, and it will stay retrograde until September the 3rd. And the whole time it'll be retrograde in the sign of Leo. And I'm going to talk more about that in future videos. The planet Neptune is involved in the new moon. It forms a tense connection with the new moon and the sun in Gemini. While this aspect can bring some mystical qualities and some inspiration, it's really important that you remain alert, because things may not be as they seem. You might feel a little lost in time. It can be difficult to integrate logic with intuition. Logic and intuition, it may be challenging just to kind of like figure out, like the rational and the intuitive parts of you may be at odds and really difficult to figure out what to do with what's coming up for you. So just be careful, careful about trusting strangers especially, and be extra discerning in environments where there is the possibility of being deceived. So this weekend, around an hour before the Gemini new moon becomes exact or kicks off the cycle, Saturn is going to go retrograde in the sign of Pisces. And the effects of this Saturn in Pisces retrograde is going to vary for each of you. It depends on the house where Pisces, the house that Pisces occupies in your chart, and if there's any planets or points in your chart that are activated. And that would be anything that's in the first 10 degrees of the mutable signs, which are Pisces, Gemini, Virgo, and Sagittarius. So in everyone's birth chart, though, Saturn represents how we work with structure and boundaries, how we build foundational aspects of our lives. And so if you're curious about how this energy specifically affects you, the Saturn retrograde or anything that we're talking about today, please reach out to me and schedule a consultation. You can email me at hello@loribarnesastrology.com or visit my website, loribarnesastrology.com. And that's spelled LORIBARNES astrology.com. Now, the planet Pluto also recently went retrograde and shifted from the sign of Aquarius back into Capricorn. And this happened on Sunday, June 11th. You may remember back in March, it was a big deal when Pluto moved into Aquarius because it's been traveling in Capricorn for a very long time. And now the old structures of Capricorn that Pluto tore down, they're coming to the end of the cycle. But we will have this throwback to the themes that came up through the visit of Pluto into Capricorn. And that goes all the way back to 2008 when Pluto first entered Capricorn. And this Pluto retrograde into Capricorn is going to last the rest of this year. It's going to go until January of 2024. And, we'll see Pluto dip into Capricorn one more time next year before it moves back into Aquarius and stays there for 20 years. And this transition of Pluto from Capricorn to Aquarius is significant because Pluto moves so slow through the zodiac that we can look to that to see profound changes over long periods of time. Collectively, we're on the verge of a major shift. And this is going to unfold over the next 20 years as Pluto goes through the sign of Aquarius. So on a personal level, to understand Pluto, you're going to want to know where Capricorn and Aquarius fall in your chart. And that'll give you the insights as to which areas of your life you may have experienced transformative energy, when Pluto was going through Capricorn, and where it will be for the rest of this year. And you can look back to 2008 to see how Pluto transited your chart and where you may have experienced some transformative energy. And then Aquarius is where Pluto entered for the first time in March of this year, and now it retrograded back into Capricorn, and it's going to stay there for the rest of the year. So it's kind of like wrapping up the messages that Pluto brought through Capricorn, and it's in the process of transitioning into Aquarius. So what does Pluto mean in your chart? Well, it often signifies big sweeping change. It purifies situations, and this can sometimes create a difficult experiences, or chaos. Pluto often indicates power issues coming up, and there can be this sense of being empowered, which is more of the positive nature, or having power over or being overpowered by someone. The best way to channel this energy is through the empowerment of yourself and others. If you're looking at your birth chart, remember that Pluto moves really slow. So you're looking for the degree of Pluto, and which it's going to be in the very last degrees of Capricorn in its retrograde back into Capricorn. And you want it to be within 1 or 2 degrees of something in your chart for it to have the potent energetic vibe that's going to produce events in life. That means that any of you listening who have planets or sensitive points like your midheaven or ascendant in the late degrees of the cardinal signs are going to be activated by this Pluto retrograde. And so that's 27 to 29 degrees of Capricorn, Aries, Cancer, or Libra. Those are the cardinal signs. So you can look for that in your chart. After this weekend's Gemini New Moon, we have the solstice, and that will be on Wednesday, June the 21st. That's when the sun enters 0 degrees of the zodiac sign Cancer. This shift signifies a time to reflect on balance. Solstices and equinoxes remind us to assess how equilibrium or imbalance shows up in the various aspects of our life. So take this opportunity to evaluate how you spend your time and set some intentions at the new moon to restore balance where it's needed. The solstices represent the days of most sunlight or least sunlight, depending on the hemisphere you're in, or you could say the most moonlight or the least moonlight. And then the equinoxes represent the days of equal light and equal dark. So solstices and equinoxes, they happen every quarter, and they signify the beginning of each of the 4 seasons. And I like to think of them as nature's reminder to take a pause and evaluate how in balance or out of balance you are in the different areas of your life. The Gemini New Moon presents an excellent opportunity for you to embrace mental stimulation, creativity, and social connection. So dress up, go out, express your unique style. This moon phase aligns perfectly with the solstice, which is asking us to evaluate and restore balance in our lives. So make the most of this energetic period and enjoy this delightful and mentally stimulating energy that is awaiting us. And if you're interested in going deeper in your astrology chart and learning how all these things that I just talked about impact your life personally, head on over to my website and book a consultation. That's loribarnesastrology.com, LORIBARNES. So let's wrap up today with an inspirational quote about creativity. This is from Dorothy Parker, and she says, "Creativity is a wild mind and a disciplined eye." So thank you for joining me today. If you have any questions or thoughts, please feel free to leave them below in the comments section. And I'd really appreciate it if you hit the like button if you enjoyed this video, and subscribe to my channel so you can be notified of future astrology videos. I hope you have a fun and creative Gemini new moon, and I'll see you next time. Ciao.